What up YouTube, Webhead Mike here, and continuing my coverage of the Zenkaikon LARP, we then go on to the second event of day one, which was the Lizard Beauty Pageant, which was the thread I picked up from Big Bird in the newbie event Petting Puppies. And Big Bird said, hey, if you want to come to the next thing I'm doing, there's the Lizard Beauty Pageant. And I looked at the tags for what was coming up and it said artistic and combatic flair. And I thought, well, Suzaku can definitely fit both. And someone who also followed me from that was Inuyasha, or some person playing Inuyasha. So we got to team up together to make our little lizard the most impressive little thing on there. And wouldn't you know it, in the middle of the event, we are interrupted by, of all people, Woden Ymir kidnapping all of our little pets and then absconding with them, but not before we could get a chance to attack him. And this is where I got to break out Suzaku's signature ability, the Spinzaku kick. And sure enough, as the battle went on, he was well suited for the occasion, as was Inuyasha. Many others were also good. And then we were eventually able to combine and defeat him. And this is when he dropped his one weapon, the feather, an artifact of some great significance that is still yet unknown. However, when many of the other members went up to acquire it, didn't really seem to react to them. And upon reading the description, that's when I said, all right, well, if you don't mind, Suzaku here is going to try and go for it, because after all, he is a Knight of Britannia. He probably knows how to handle a weapon. And sure enough, when he started doing some flourishes with it, he noticed there was a little switch that turned it from a simple rapier into a claymore. So, because of that, the group then decided, okay, because Suzaku is good with this, he can keep it safe, he will have it. Little did I know that would be an artifact important much, much further into the LARP. And all because I just got lucky enough and had good enough roleplay in the moment. Some people were also asking, wait a minute, your name is Suzaku Kururugi, and you're a Knight of the Holy Britannian Empire. How did that come to be? Well, I couldn't get too meta because, again, I have to stay in character, but I just simply stated that, okay, well, Britain invaded Japan, made it Area 11. I decided that we 11s, we former Japanese, can still prove our worth and work within the system to make it better for those of us in it. After all, that is the painful idealist that Suzaku is. And apparently some people liked it. And as I said, though, I got the Sword of Magus, aka the Feather. And then we then got next threads of what to happen next was either the Key of the Speed or the Free Personality Test. And since Suzaku is horrible with cats, I decided to go with the Key of Speed, but I'll get into that later. This is when I also began to get interested in the more combat-centric mechanics of the Nexus system. Apparently how Initiative runs is, it is a flat number. You take your athletics, and you take your athletics, and what was it? You take your athletics and your brains, and that makes up your initiative score. So your quickness of body and quickness of mind combine to see how well you act on initiative. And in Suzaku's case, that was a 9. Pretty darn high, pretty darn good. This is also when we got to introduce some of the more combat-centric mechanics, such as, all right, well, someone's going to attack me. All right, well, they have to beat my 5 dodge. What is their incoming? Okay, they have a 4. All right, well, then they have to beat me twice, and all I have to do is tie them or beat them once. And thankfully, Suzaku was really good at that. Didn't even have to activate his Gias to live. And then also, we began to get more interesting elements because the next day we were informed that the continuing thread for this event would be in the feathery dust-up. And this is when I began asking questions. She says, okay, so if we're going to an enemy base, how big is it? And that's when my GM caught on to where I was going and said, yes, bring your mech. It is big enough to bring your mech. And everyone began thinking, oh my God, you're going to bring a mech? What's a Gundam going to be doing in here? And that's when I said, no. This is a nightmare frame from Code Geass. It is little bigger than a big truck with legs. Like literally, you take a Ford F-150, you give it legs, that's the thing. I mean, probably a third of the mass of the nightmare frame is the cockpit. They're not really that big. But no, yeah, and it was also really nice to do this because the GM for this event and also for the training puppies was a friend of mine from college, and it was nice to get back into the swing of role-playing with them. And of course, I saw that he threw in Super Robot War characters, as was the norm back when we were playing, so it was a nice refresher down memory lane and got me primed for the next series of events where I wouldn't have him as my GM, so I'd have to be able to go off on my own. But that is what we had to look forward to at the Lizard Beauty Pageant. Next up, I will cover the Key of the Speed. But until next time, that's all for now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Any interest in more of the LARP as I continue going on? Have you ever been in one? Because this was my first one. Any things on what to expect going forward? I look forward to hearing you. And until next time, Webhead Mike, out.